The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the most famous race course in the world, where 21 years ago, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars began running the Brickyard 400. Drivers found out in stock cars what open-wheel drivers had known for years. This is one tough place to race. But those who figure it out and master it get the sweet sensation of a victory at Indianapolis. ESPN welcomes you to the corner of 16th and Georgetown in Speedway, Indiana, where the process of gaining track position for tomorrow's Brickyard 400 begins with qualifying. Drivers about to take to this tough 2.5-mile track to determine their starting position for tomorrow's race. And on the third floor of that unmistakable landmark, the Pagoda at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, our broadcast location for the weekend. Thanks for joining us. Alan Bestwick with two-time Brickyard 400 winning driver Dale Jarrett and the 1995 Brickyard winning crew chief Andy Petrie. So track position at a place that's so difficult to pass on, it's important, and you get it starting with qualifying. New this year in time trials, not one car at a time, but as at all the other tracks, the knockout-style group qualifying that we'll see on the Speedway here. And with all the cars going out to qualify at once, it could create on this track some interesting subtleties for us to watch for.
There's no doubt about it. As I talked to drivers and crew chiefs about how they planned on going about this session, they said they really didn't know. They were going to kind of play it by ear. They thought that they might want to do a little bit of drafting, see if they could get just a little bit of pull down the straightaway, but they can't get too close to where that's going to affect them in the corner because it could make a bigger difference than what they might gain down the straightaway. They certainly want to keep the amount of laps off of their tires as they possibly can. So look for them to put down an effort, go easy from there, and then try to move on to the next session. But we could see anything happen here, Andy.
It's really hard to set up those type scenarios to draft, but it will make a difference. Somebody will get a little bit of a tow, and it'll help. The one thing you mentioned, though, is keeping the laps off the tires. That's going to be very important here because it seems like, traditionally anyway, that they really lose a lot of speed the more times you run them. They're going to have to run them 3 different sessions, the fast cars will. So you'll see, I think, in the first session, some cars not really show you everything they have. I almost predict that the pole winner will not be at the top of the first session because you don't really want to abuse the tires at that point. You want to save the best for last.
Let's show you some of the favorites to be at the top of the speed charts when qualifying is all over. We based this off this morning's practice session, which was abbreviated by a rain shower and thunderstorm that came through here earlier. But those numbers you see put up by Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski, that's track record pace.
That is track record pace, but those drivers that are at the top that I talked to said, oh, if we could only have a track that was that cool and that fresh as what they had this morning, they don't know they're going to see that. But I still think that we may see a track record here.
Yeah, there's a chance, but this tire that they've brought here is pretty tough. It's not quite as grippy as the drivers would like. I talked to them. They said it's a pretty hard tire, so they don't know that the track and this tire combination are going to have the kind of grip that we saw in that little abbreviated session. So we'll see. It's possible. We'll see a track record, and we know the cars are going to be plenty fast.
Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., 2 of a handful of drivers still waiting for their cars to clear the technical inspection line and be brought out to the grid so they can buckle in and get started with qualifying in just 5 minutes. Down on the pit lane among all the people in the crowd are Dave Burns.
And you guys were looking at that graphic the way I was. That was so 3 hours ago on fresh tires for Jimmy Johnson with a cool racetrack. A lot has changed since then. It has gotten hotter. The track has lost grip. The sun is out now, but it's been back and forth, so that's a bit of a question as well. But Jimmy, if his team can adapt, is going to go for his second pole here. Remember, he's got to do it in the final round of a 3-session qualifying session on used tires. We'll see if they can make their way there to this afternoon. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Dave, a native Hoosier and 2-time Brickyard 400 winner Tony Stewart did not put up very many impressive numbers this morning in final practice. There's a reason for that, folks. Tony spent most of final practice in race trim. Not until the final couple of minutes did he opt to go ahead and move over to qualifying trim. And when they did, they only had time to go out and run a couple of laps. And guess what? Off of turn 2, the car got very loose, and Tony backed out of it. And they came in and said, okay, we don't know what we got. We're going to tighten the car up slightly, and when we go out to qualify, we'll all find out together. Can Tony be a factor? We're going to know here in just a few minutes as Tony Stewart heads toward his car. Here's Vince Welch.
Paul Menard is one of those drivers trying to still secure a spot in the chase, and he returns to the track where he scored his lone Sprint Cup Series win, of course, here at Indianapolis in 2011. But as his crew chief Slugger Labby told me, winning here in 2011 was great, but it does nothing to help us this weekend. Every week certainly is a new challenge. This weekend it's been a handful of a race car, loose each time out. They focused on trying to find some drive off the corners and haven't done a single mock qualifying run. Not quite sure what the 27 is going to have here in just a few minutes. Jamie?
Well, Juan Pablo Montoya has 16 starts among 4 different series here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But today, it's a first for him. He's driving for Roger Penske for the Brickyard 400. Now, this is the second of 2 starts this season in the Cup Series. I just talked to Juan before he got in the car, and he said, hey, this team is comprised of some shop mechanics and IndyCar Series personnel who he works with in the IndyCar Series. And he said, based on that, we feel pretty good about our chances. He was 6th in final practice this morning. So watch for the 12 perhaps to be a spoiler here in qualifying. Alan?
Juan Pablo and the other drivers rolling out onto the track for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying in just a moment. Then, immediately following, we'll have the NASCAR Nationwide Series 250-miler. Qualifying just wrapped up for that. Kyle Busch winning pole position, but a number of the young drivers in the series not that far behind him. Should be fun to watch. Then tomorrow, the Brickyard 400 is here at Indianapolis. First, we'll show you NHRA Sonoma Nationals qualifying tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN, and the final eliminations will be tomorrow night at 9 Eastern on ESPN2. And our coverage of the Brickyard 400 is presented by Golden Corral tomorrow starting at noon Eastern on ESPN. Get ready to go with NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying. A rather tall gentleman in the middle is familiar to us. Doing a little scouting for Countdown tomorrow. Big Brad with Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson.
Taco Bell brought back some old friends.
It's so good to be back.
To check out our new breakfast burrito.
Wow. This is legit. It's grilled.
It's even pretty. We just say it's good down in Louisiana.
Would you get a burrito from a burger place?
You don't go to a sushi bar and order spaghetti.
Good point, Ronald. Stick with the people who know burritos. Taco Bell's new grilled breakfast burritos. Bacon, sausage, or potato for $1.29 each.
What are you guys having?
I'll have a Red's Apple Ale. Make it 2.
Red's Apple Ale. Crisp like an apple, brewed like an ale.
Don't just visit Miami. Visit TripAdvisor Miami. With millions of reviews, TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Behind this door, there's a scientific genius at work. My daughter. It all started when she got the Dell Inspiron 11 3000 series 2-in-1. With the performance of a laptop with Intel inside and the versatility of a tablet, the Inspiron 11 has everything a kid needs to learn and do just about anything. Whoa! Genius. Like father, like daughter.
The new Dell Inspiron 11 2-in-1 starting at $399.99. Buy a PC for $699.99 or more and get a free Dell tablet.
We have to be on all the time, so we rely pretty heavily on the coffee cart.
Hey guys, want some coffee?
I have a double-double. What's a double-double?
It's 2 double espressos.
They're awesome. Kevin makes the best double-double. As a matter of fact, can I get another one?
I think maybe you should slow down.
Give me another double-double, Kevin. Kevin, can I get another double-double?
I think you should just get through your show, you know?
It's for my show.
Of course, we do have to be careful that we don't overdo it.
Things are really heating up. Shaping up, looking up, going up. Well, up from some teams, down for others. Is getting excited. It's the playoffs. Whoa!
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying for the Brickyard 400 is about to get underway. There you see most of the cars gridded along the pit lane and the people crowded around them, waiting to watch and see what happens. So the knockout-style qualifying here on this 2.5-mile track means 3 rounds of qualifying. First session is going to be 25 minutes long. Top 24 will advance on to round 2. And because there are more cars here than there are spots in the field, who's in the race and who's out will be determined at the end of that first session. Then after the brief break, round number 2 goes 10 minutes long. Top 12 will make the cut. And those 12 will run just a brief 5-minute session to determine who starts on pole position for the Brickyard 400. So I mentioned there are a number of cars still working their way through the technical inspection process. That is behind the wall by where the Formula One garage area and the inspection exit is. Kevin Harvick and his team just coming through the inspection line. Rodney Childers far side of the car helping the team button things up. Kevin already getting buckled in. And the first session has just gone green. Harvick's not in his car yet, and he's not alone back there behind the wall.
And these teams have had since 11 a.m. when practice ended to get their cars prepared and ready for this qualifying session. So a little over 3 hours, and some of them still couldn't make it.
A little traffic jam on pit road.
And this is one of the times whenever we could see some drivers space themselves to try to get just a little bit of a tow, but behind someone that they think is going to be fast enough to stay out in front of them that they're not going to run up on them in the corner, which would slow them down.
What a streak of different pole winners here at Indianapolis. 16 straight. Will that streak continue today? Some good candidates for that. Brad Keselowski, notably. Some good candidates to alter that streak, like Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick. So green flag and the first session is underway. Just an interesting thing that we saw just before drivers buckled into their cars. Watch Kyle Busch here. He's out on the front straightaway of the racetrack.
You have to think that he's trying to measure a certain distance off the wall. I'm sure maybe the engineers have told him that there's probably a sweet spot to have his car away from that wall, and he's wanting to see exactly what that looks like. That's Kyle Busch covering all the bases.
Where the air that's breaking off the nose of the car gets trapped between the car and the wall and slows it down, or some fancy thing like that?
Yeah, when we used to come in, when we first started coming here, they had all of these segments around this racetrack, Andy. I know you remember this, and we used to just take times to see where I needed to be, where I could get away from the wall. And there was even a time that we were here on a very, very windy day, and it was almost getting difficult to get anything that was worth having as far as information. But I just went down the back straightaway, which was against the wind, and instead of being away from it like we normally were by a certain distance, I decided to run up against it because I felt something as we were doing some race runs, and I wanted to see if it would transfer over, and it actually picked up my car, the speed of my car. So if they get a headwind, which they're not going to have that much because there's a lot, something for them to look at. Jeff Gordon was the first car on the track, and he's been the quickest so far.
So you start to see as the cars complete a time lap, the running order popping up there left side of the screen. 66 is Brett Moffitt, making just his third NASCAR Sprint Cup start. Paul Menard, former winner of the race, right behind him.
Yeah, we talked about drafting. This is not the situation that you want to be in. Saw Paul have to follow Moffitt through the corner. That had to slow him down quite a bit.
And that's even worse right there.
Yeah, he's just going to give it up now, come in and see how that stacks up. 12th quickest so far.
Yeah, that's a second off of what Gordon ran. And Gordon was just over a half a tenth off of the track record.
Greg Biffle. Part of the Roush Fenway group that seemed to be struggling a little bit for speed in the practices here yesterday and this morning.
I talked to Carl Edwards, and he did a test at Michigan last week. Thought that they had learned something. Actually did learn something at Michigan. Thought that it would carry over here. And they worked night and day, he said, to get a car like that, what they had learned. He wouldn't tell me exactly what it was, but it doesn't seem like it's transferred over to this flat racetrack.
Now, one thing we're probably going to see, based on what we talked about earlier, fall off in the tires, the fact that you can't change tires, and if you're going to be up front and start toward the front of this thing, you got to run 3 different times on the racetrack, is guys making just the one lap on the clock and then coasting around and maybe not using up everything they can, just trying to do just enough to get into the top 24.
I talked to Stephen Letarte, crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He said they were going to do exactly that. He told Dale, let's don't go out there and try to put down the fastest lap we can in that first session, because we know we got enough speed, our motors, everything else, to be in the top 24. So let's just go down there, put the car on the bottom, make sure you don't slip out of the groove or do anything, and do a conservative lap. And you look at Junior's time, he's about roughly a half a second off of Jeff Gordon's teammate and probably what he ran in practice. I don't think you'll see him run that slow when it comes time.
Todd Gordon on the radio to Joey Logano. There you see Logano posting the 4th fastest lap so far.
immediately slow down, get on the access road, and coast it around.
All three Penske cars in the top 6 now. Brad Keselowski, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Joey Logano, 2nd, 4th, and 6th, as that picture continues to change.
Talking to a couple of crew chiefs that brought up kind of the same point that aren't on the Penske side, but he said all year what they've seen with this Penske organization is they've been better at managing and making their cars equally as good, if not better, as these sessions move forward. And that's where they've really been on top of things, maybe a little bit better than others. So we'll keep an eye on the 2 and the 22 and the 12 for sure.
Justin Allgaier, one of 8 drivers looking to make their first start in the Brickyard 400. The Illinois native trying to post a spot that'll get him into the top 24 at the moment. Justin does have a little bit of experience here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. So he's not a pure speedway rookie.
I killed too. There's no sense in even running it here. I need to come in.
Yeah, he was way out of the groove there, and all that does is you're using up racetrack, and he couldn't be in the throttle, and that was just going to kill his straightaway speed down the backstretch.
Oh, look at Carl, man. That car's out of shape big time. Carl's one of those teams in cars that has to put down about all they can get right here to make sure they make the top 24. They've not shown the kind of speed that we've seen out of some of the Hendrick cars.
And where we saw him do that, have that wiggle, was in turn 2 where you're headed to the long back straightaway where you can make a lot of speed. If you hit that corner right, it can make a big difference.
Yeah, he's safely in though. That's a pretty good time I think he can stand on.
So Edwards in.
I got real loose in 2.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Edwards into the 12th position. There's Jamie McMurray, former winner. Top 24 for now.
Yeah, I think that time right there is going to be close. They're going to have to sit on things a little bit and kind of be ready to go back out.
Still some drivers that have not run yet, quite a few in fact. One of them is Jimmy Johnson, whose car has just cleared the inspection area. Jimmy is aboard. And Dave, there he goes.
Good hole, please. A good hole here.
Chad Knaus talking to his spotter Earl Barvin, trying to get a good hole for Jimmy to go in and get a clean lap. Part of the problem was after you pass through inspection and make sure everything is right with NASCAR, you've got a little checklist of things you want to do to your race car before you send your driver out there. Everything from checking the heights again and putting a piece of tape here and there. And there were just about 5 minutes worth of things they had to do after they finally got through. So that's what they've been waiting on at the end here.
Kurt Busch, 41 car you see there, one of those that just came out from behind the wall. Tony Stewart's car has been out on the pit lane for a while, but there you see smoke waiting for the right moment on the racetrack to make a run. Normally, Indianapolis in qualifying, when the single car runs were here over the years, would be one of those where people talked about catching a cloud. And we thought that might be something that would factor into how people made their strategy for the qualifying session today if it were a sunny day. But in the last hour and a half or so, we've seen this overcast roll in, and that's kind of taken that out of the equation. I thought of it because I saw Chad Knaus, as his car was rolling out, looking up at the sky to see what the conditions were.
Oh, I promise you, he's definitely checking that out because this track is so sensitive to that sun. I'm thinking that we're going to see a pretty consistent racetrack because of this overcast, and I think that's probably going to make it more fair for everyone. They're not going to be scrambling trying to go out there to catch a cloud.
It looks like Harvick on a fast time run right now, which would definitely be a track record also. Yeah, it's like all the crew chiefs got together and prayed at one time and everybody got a cloud.
Yeah.
Wow. Really,
this might blow my theory. This might blow my theory right here.
He's laying his down, isn't he?
Yeah, because I think this is one of the cars that's going to be a contender for the pole.
New track record.
And that's faster than anything we saw in practice.
D1.
188.889 miles an hour for Kevin Harvick. The 14th new track record of 2014, and you can't say those 3 words at this track without thinking of the late Tom Carnegie.
Yep.
The longtime public address announcer here who would bellow that out every time someone topped the old speed mark.
Let's see if that track record is going to last very long right here.
He's got to step it up. That lap by Harvick is about a 1/10 of a second faster than what Jimmy ran in practice. A little twitchy. just looked a little nervous with the steering wheel.
Not the driver, the car. Right?
The car.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the driver. Never the driver. Not that one.
But it's difficult, too, as a driver. You wanted to be out there as this whole thing started because you just get amped up a little bit more. This is already an intense qualifying session as it was, and for your car to be sitting behind the wall, everybody else is going out, you wonder how that's going to affect you as other cars have been on the track. Certainly not the lap that they were looking for, I don't believe. It's going to be plenty good to get them in, and this will be all they'll need in this session.
Across the yard of bricks.
Save your tires, nice and easy.
So 5th for Jimmy Johnson. Austin Dillon. This will be his first time lap of this session.
That's 15th. That should be solidly in with as many cars that have run now, and I would think that's something they will be able to sit on and take a look at from here on.
So 40 of 46 cars have run. You see Denny Hamlin now on the bubble for making the transfer to the next round. Here's Kurt Busch. Yeah, that's Kurt. Had a double clutch on myself because Kurt and Tony's cars look a little bit alike from the front.
Sure do. Have to double clutch a little bit too. We were talking about the lap in practice by Jimmy Johnson. It was actually a 47.54. It's a 1/10 of a second the other way. So he may have some potential when it comes time to lay one down.
He may, but that lap when he did that, it's a whole lot different track than what they're looking at right now.
Nice run for Kurt Busch. 4th fastest. Tony Stewart behind him. 11th. Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears out of the top 24. Danica Patrick on the bubble. Still 4 cars that have not put a lap down yet. No one has put a lap down as fast as that man. Californian Kevin Harvick. New track record speed here at Indianapolis in the first round of knockout qualifying.
They're smooth. There's really smooth. Then there's triple filtered smooth.
Hey, Carl, what kind of bait you using? That makes sense.
Keystone Light, once, twice, triple filtered, and always smooth.
Oh, hello there. I'm Uma.
Hi, I'm Gary.
And I'm your new #1 ranked home phone service.
I know.
Woo! Free calls. Let's high five.
Yeah, high five.
I'm kidding, Gary. I don't have hands. You know who does? You do. Let's make some free calls. Ooh. Oh.
Am I doing it right?
Oh, yeah.
Crystal clear nationwide calling for free. Uma, the smartphone for your home.
Do you belong in this circle? Under the glow of stadium lights? Can you withstand the pressure and go nose to nose with a Sprint Cup driver and keep your wits about you at every turn? Round and round you go, and when you'll rise, nobody knows. Tomorrow at the Brickyard, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returns to ESPN. With 7 races to go, the race to the all-new chase is on. The Battle at the Brickyard, tomorrow at noon on ESPN.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. See your Northern California Chevy dealer.
The hot summer savings sale is on right now only at Antioch Toyota. Antioch Toyota has 13 Toyotas with 0% APR on approved credit. It is time to pick up one of America's most fuel-efficient cars today. Start saving gas and money with the new 2014 Prius 2 for just $27.49 or 0% APR up to 60 months. Or pick up a new 2014 Camry LE for just $18,499 or 0% APR up to 60 months. Make the smart choice this year at the hot summer savings sales event and save thousands. Head to the Antioch Auto Center at Auto Center Drive in Costco Way. So big they named an exit after them. Auto Center Drive off Highway 4.
America.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series knockout qualifying round 1 underway here at the famed Brickyard. Jeff Gordon setting the early pace. Kevin Harvick setting a blistering pace to lead the way as drivers negotiate this ever so tricky 2.5-mile track. Little lull in the action for the moment with just one more driver yet to make his inaugural run. That's downtown. That's Victory Field, where the AAA Indianapolis Indians, AAA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates, play their home games. Had a big crowd out there on Thursday night for a game against the Charlotte Knights. We use that as a jumping off point to tell you about Sunday Night Baseball, a great rivalry game with the Dodgers and the Giants. 8 Eastern Time, Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. Giants acquiring Jake Peavy today in a trade with the Boston Red Sox to add to their pitching rotation. Next up in our rotation is Dr. Jerry Punch.
And we're down here with Kyle Busch. And, we know inside the garage area, one of the things that makes Kyle so good in this sport is your technical approach to every racetrack. Now, we saw you out stepping off feet from the outside wall prior to qualifying. What's that about, Kyle?
Just trying to figure out where my marks are and, what you're trying to accomplish and whatnot. I ain't going to give you all the secrets, but just trying to reference, they tell you whether it's 4 feet or 6 feet, and you go measure, and it's really 10 feet. So there's a lot of difference there.
You put your car on the pole for the nationwide race later today. By the way, congratulations on the pole. We'll be covering it a little bit. What about this car? I mean, I know conditions have changed a little bit in that first session. How's your race car right now, the Cup car?
Really tight that first run. You got to be free enough here to be able to hustle it for one lap to maintain your minimum speed at a higher speed. So, essentially, we just got to free it up, I guess. Try not to get too loose. Obviously, if you're too loose, you're not getting the gas down on the exit of the corners for these long straightaways. So, try to get it freed up some and go give her another round here in the second round, see if we can't pick up our speed to make it for the third one.
Hey, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Kyle Busch down here waiting to jump back in. The car needs to be freed up a little bit, Alan. A little too tight to make these turns.
All right, Doc, thanks. On the track now, Danica Patrick, who just got bumped out of the top 25 a minute ago, so now is out there making a second run, trying to race her way back into the second round of qualifying.
It's going to take a little more than 1/10 of a second over what she ran previously to jump inside that. Obviously, she'd like to be more than that, and at this point in time, she is just a little bit.
Martin Truex Jr. now down on the bubble in 24th spot. That's close.
Danica can hold on to that little advantage right there. And she does it. She moves up 23rd.
Just barely in. Puts Greg Biffle, as you see on the left side of the screen, down on the bubble now. Aric Almirola, Daytona winner in the Richard Petty Motorsports 43, out on the track a moment ago, but is now back in the garage area and climbing out of that car, and here's why.
Yeah, you can see where the groove of this track is. You get anywhere outside of that, and there's just nothing to help you to turn to stay out of the wall. You're wanting to stay in the gas, but you could hear there, he had already lifted trying not to do that and still couldn't keep the car out of the wall. A lot of damage there.
And so he is Almirola. There you see Aric taking the car back to the garage, and the team instantly going to work to see what they've got. Trent Owens, the crew chief there in the green hat. And trying to take a peek at what they might need to go to work on to get that car ready for tomorrow's Brickyard 400. So Greg Biffle is on the bubble. Casey Mears is the closest to him. And on the track trying to make another run, Casey 26th. And is not going to move up any. And you already heard the report from Casey in the car.
You know, this is one of those places as a driver. There's a lot of places you go and qualify and you get that lap, and you're really not sure how good that it was. But this is one of those places you certainly know if you messed up for sure, or if the lap's not going to be good enough to do what you wanted to do and needed to do.
Five minutes left in the session. Kevin Harvick leading, Jimmy Johnson sixth. Waiting to see who makes the Brickyard 400 and who doesn't in just a few minutes.
If you had $1 for every dollar car insurance companies say they'll save you by switching, you'd have like a ton of dollars. But how are they saving you those dollars? A lot of companies might answer or no comment. Then there's Esurance, born online, raised by technology, and majors in efficiency. So whatever they save, you save. Hassle, time, paperwork, hair tearing out, and yes, especially dollars. Esurance, insurance for the modern world. Now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
I'll take a red strawberry ale.
What?
Reds!
I think he wants this.
Red Strawberry Ale. Fresh like a strawberry, brewed like an ale.
Taco Bell brought back some old friends.
It's so good to be back.
To check out our new breakfast burrito.
Wow. This is legit. It's grilled.
It's even pretty. We just say it's good down in Louisiana.
Would you get a burrito from a burger place?
You don't go to a sushi bar and order spaghetti.
Good point, Ronald. Stick with the people who know burritos. Taco Bell's new grilled breakfast burritos. Bacon, sausage, or potato for $1.29 each.
Is Interstate the best battery in the world?
We say yes.
Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Are you single?
Yes.
Are you on Match?
No, actually. I just kind of figured it would be inconvenient because I didn't know there was an app.
Does this app seem inconvenient?
No, it seems easy. He's actually really funny. Is this a real person?
This is a real person. Find his username.
It's Joe King.
Joe King.
Oh! I really like this. I'm not kidding.
Two minutes left in the opening of the 3 rounds of knockout qualifying here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400. Greg Biffle is on the bubble in that 24th spot. That is his car sitting at the end of pit lane to the right of the graphic, waiting to go out in case he needs to make another run. Martin Truex Jr. is on the racetracks now, trying to knock him out of the top 25. Not going to be fast enough. He'll stay in 25th. I think I said top 25. Top 24. Truex in 25th, trying to move up a spot. Denny Hamlin outside the top 25 on the track, trying to move up enough to get himself into the top 24 and make the cut.
That's not looking like that's going to happen. That had to be wider than what Denny wanted to be right there on the racetrack. Usually if you're there, it's because your car is just a little bit loose and you can't turn the steering wheel, and you're probably not in the gas. And you can see right now that's not going to be fast enough by the tracker here.
Steam coming out of the 11, getting all he could out of the engine. Here's Paul Menard.
Looks like Paul Menard's the only one that I see on the track now that can threaten Biffle's bubble spot. Surprise to me. I had no idea that Paul would be struggling to try to get into the top 24, but it looks like he's not going to make it.
Now, while we watch Paul come to the yard of bricks, let's also mention that the spots to make or not make the race are also at stake here in this last 25 seconds. As things stand now, Matt Crafton, David Stremme, and Brett Moffitt are going to be the 3 who are not going to be in the field, and none of those 3 drivers is on the racetrack. They all took another run trying to improve their spot. Bobby Labonte is outside of the time that he would need to get in, but Bobby would take the past champions provisional as a former NASCAR Sprint Cup champ to make his way into the Brickyard 400 field.
Biffle put about a half a lap or so more than he really wanted to on his tires. He did abort the lap, but he had to get the green flag at speed just in case Paul Menard knocked him out.
So flags are up, time is done, first round is over. Kevin Harvick was the fastest in new track record fashion. And a look at how they ran in round 1.
Well, that was quite a difference. The lap that Kevin Harvick put down is going to give them all something to shoot for.
All 3 of the Penske cars there inside the top 8 positions.
I think you can look for Dale Earnhardt Jr. to move up from that 14th spot in this next session.
And 23rd and 24th, and making the cut, Danica Patrick and Greg Biffle. And first out is Martin Truex Jr. 3 drivers not making the field again. Brett Moffitt, David Stremme, and Matt Crafton will not be in Sunday's Brickyard 400. Round 2 coming up from the Speedway.
Behind this door, there's a scientific genius at work. My daughter. It all started when she got the Dell Inspiron 11 3000 series 2-in-1. With the performance of a laptop with Intel inside and the versatility of a tablet, the Inspiron 11 has everything a kid needs to learn and do just about anything. Whoa! Genius. Like father, like daughter.
The new Dell Inspiron 11 2-in-1 starting at $399.99. Buy a PC for $699.99 or more and get a free Dell tablet.
Somewhere out there, a high-tech factory is being built, preparing to manufacture world-class products. And it's happening right here in America. At WeatherTech, American workers in American factories are creating the highest quality automotive accessories, including laser-measured, custom-fit floor liners. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. WeatherTech, proudly made in America.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Wow, this hotel is amazing.
Oh, no.
Who are you? Who are you? Wrong answer.
Wait, Daddy, this is Blair. He booked this room with Priceline Express deals and saved a ton.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have to bid, and I got everything I wanted. Oh, good. I always do. Oh, good.
He seemed nice. Express deals, Priceline savings without the bidding.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Still doesn't feel real. Our time together was so short.
Well, since you have Progressive's total loss coverage, we were able to replace your totaled bike with a brand new one.
The tank, the exhaust. Well, she looks just like Roxy. You know, I bet she's in a better place now.
I know she is. I feel it in my heart.
Actually, the old Roxy's over at the junkyard.
Getting you back on a brand new bike. Now that's Progressive.
These trucks aren't for show. These are work trucks. So if they have a few scratches at the end of the day, that's okay. It's all in a good day's work.
Get ready for the second round of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying here at Indianapolis to set the starting field for Sunday's Brickyard 400. Immediately following this, the NASCAR Nationwide Series race. We'll have a little quick break, but then we'll have NASCAR Countdown and a 250-miler here with Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth on the front row, but Ty Dillon and Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher all in the top 10 and not far behind. Sunday, it's the Brickyard 400 telecast presented by Golden Corral, starting at noon Eastern Time with NASCAR Countdown and the 21st running of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here at Indianapolis. Also this weekend, see qualifying for the NHRA Sonoma Nationals at 7 Eastern tonight on ESPN. That's right after the nationwide race. And see final eliminations on Sunday night at 9 Eastern on ESPN2. Downstairs, Vince.
with 2011 Brickyard winner Paul Menard. Expected you in the top 24 there. That first run looks like you ran into some traffic with the 66. What happened there?
Yeah, we didn't do any qualifying runs in practice, so wasn't really sure what we had. But I thought our car was pretty good, and I got impatient, and I figured that we had to go early with the track kind of heating up a little bit. So I thought we were going to be okay. The 66 just went really slow and caught him and killed our lap. But I think we spent a lot of time in race practice today, and I think we got our mowing Menard Chevy a lot better for the race tomorrow. And I'm kind of glad we did that, even though we're going to start 29th. I think we could have qualified better had we not had traffic, but we're definitely looking forward to the race.
That's Paul Menard. Let's go to Dave Burns.
With Denny Hamlin right now, 27th and not transferring. Denny, where do the issues lie with the 11 car?
I mean, we ain't got enough time. ESPN don't have enough air time for me to break it all down, but it's just really, we've been over second off most of the weekend. Don't know. You know, we're just slow. Can't enter the corner with any speed. If I do, I'm off the white line, and then you're not making up any speed by not being in the throttle on exit. So it's just a tough position we're in right now because our car's just handling so bad that we can't get anything to go right. So in race trim, we were okay after 5 laps. I felt like we could break even with some good cars, but the front line speed of our car is just really struggling, and that's what you need to, have good track position for those restarts at the end.
All right, thanks for the time. Hopefully a long run can help these guys cure some of the problems, AB.
Yeah, I was thinking back to Paul Menard, and the same would apply for Denny Hamlin. But remember, when Paul Menard won the race, he got caught up in an incident and lost all of his track position. And a pit road penalty, I believe it was, too. And that gave Slugger Labbe the opening to work a strategy to get Paul his track position back to the front and helped him win the race.
Yeah, I mean, if you do start back in the high 20s, it doesn't doom your success, but it does set you off on the wrong foot. Especially strategy early in the race. You can't kind of hang out at the front. You got to do some things to try to get back up there. So it can be done, but it's not going to be easy.
Track's open for session 2. You're seeing those cars just leave the track, but Jeff Gordon's already gone. He had that first spot down at the end of the pit road, and while these guys were jockeying around and trying to get back out of their spaces, he's out on the racetrack. So it gets a little bit harder here. On a set of tires you've made one run on already, plus that balance between not using it all up and saving something for the third session. Well, now you got to make the top 12, not just the top 24.
Yeah, there's no saving here. All these cars are going to have to go as hard as they can go just to make the top 12, even including Harvick.
Yeah, this is going to take everything their driver has here. You can't say, okay, I'm going to give up a little bit getting in the corner to try to keep it down at the bottom. You've got to give it your solid effort because he's trying to get in these top 12 right here. It's going to be very, very difficult. This competition is just so close. So many fast race cars and good drivers.
Really a fine line on the setup. You got to have the car free enough to make the speed through the middle of the corner. And then it makes it, you see some of them a little bit nervous. We saw Jimmy's car in the first session, just a little twitchy. And the driver has to do his job, boy, I'll tell you, because they have to be right on the edge.
A loose car here trying to qualify, though, is just no fun whatsoever. You find yourself in trouble and so quickly. And you don't have banking to catch a loose race car here. That's your issue, is you don't have that you can lean on. It gets out a little bit, steps out, and then you can kind of catch it. It's going to cost you your lap if you get it sideways.
Well, you can tell by that in-car shot that Jeff was definitely up on that steering wheel.
Just a tad slower than he ran in that first session, just about 7/100ths of a second.
So we'll begin to see the times and speeds put up now as drivers come back around and complete a time lap. Kyle Larson, Trevor Bayne also running. There you see Brad Keselowski heading out. Here's Matt Kenseth coming to the yard of bricks. That'll be third for Matt.
I think that's going to be in that time that's going to be close right there. I'm not even sure how close it'll end up being.
How fast will Kevin Harvick be on this run? Pretty fast.
Not quite as fast as the first one, but fast enough.
Yeah, about a 1/10 and a half off of what it ran there.
P1.
The only driver in the 188-mile-an-hour bracket so far, Kevin Harvick. Here's Brad Keselowski.
This car's had so much speed in the last what, 2 races that they've run other than the one at Daytona. Kentucky and New Hampshire. He's chasing that one a little bit, though.
Yeah, it takes that to run a lap here. You can't just go down here and turn the steering wheel and it just follow around the corner. You really got to work. We'll follow along right there. You're not out of the gas. Look how little he was out of the throttle. You're fighting to try to keep it off the wall there just a little bit to try to get that wide entry into the corner. And it is loose right there at that point as you're carrying a lot of speed off the exit.
Numbers on Brad. Third. Here's his teammate, Joey Logano. Based on what we've seen for the last month, we've talked about coming into the weekend, expecting that this might be a Hendrick Motorsports versus Team Penske show. Here's Logano in 6th. Here comes Jimmy Johnson.
While we're watching him here, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the slowest of the 14 that have been out there and laid down a time so far.
He's almost 4/10 slower than he was in that first one.
I had to think that he got out of the groove somewhere. Johnson 4th quick.
So Carl Edwards on the bubble now. Trevor Bayne just nudged out. Now Edwards bumped out by Ryan Newman. Here's Juan Pablo Montoya on the track.
You see Kenseth keep falling back when he put that lap down. I thought that might be kind of the mark there at that 48.52 that I really believe it's looking more like that might not be quite enough to get in this top 12.
Montoya looking good.
Yep, good enough. I think that time will make the cutoff.
Don't think there's any doubt.
He jumps up to 7th.
Kurt Busch starting a timed lap here.
What a thrill it was to watch him run the Indianapolis 500 and perform the way that he did.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Sets the top. Whoa,
hang on.
That's it. When you make it through that, that's a lot of fun as a driver. You got it hung out there, and you know you didn't have to lift. You got all you could. You also know that you got turn 4 coming up, that you've got to do that again. So,
Kurt, the rookie of the year in the Indianapolis 500, the great 6th place finish he put on at his first ever try in an Indy car, really earned a lot of respect. Not just within the IndyCar community where he came to race, but within the NASCAR community that was watching him and really appreciated the job he did here at the Speedway in that totally different kind of race car.
That lap will put him solidly into the next round, too. It's 5th quick right now.
So there's Matt Kenseth back on the bubble like you were talking before.
Yeah, way off there.
The 2010 winner not going to move into the top 12. Five drivers yet to post a timed lap in this round 2. Here's one of them, Tony Stewart.
Wow, good lap for Smoke.
That's actually quicker than he ran in the first session.
Kenseth's out, Kyle Busch on the bubble. Clint Boyer, Danica Patrick. Still to post the time here.
Right there, knocking on the door for that 12th spot. Lost just a little bit to Kyle Busch, as you can see.
Greg Diffel and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the other two we haven't seen post their time yet in this second round. Just a little bit shy of making the cut for Danica.
Also quicker than the first session for her, so that's a good lap. That'll get her a good starting spot.
Boyer, Biffle, and Stenhouse yet to go. Here's Clint's time. Not enough.
Third round of knockout. 15 cars.
Kyle Busch still sitting buckled in his car, watching. Stenhouse rolling toward the racetrack. Clint Boyer not fast enough to make the cut.
We see Matt Kenseth try to get back out there and get himself situated back into the top 12. Wasn't really certainly looked like it.
Law of diminishing returns on the tires and so on.
Yeah, I mean, Matt's smart enough to figure that out. He probably knows that whatever lap that they had put in right there, that he may not have another 48.40 in it.
Yeah, he probably did everything, and the car did what he wanted, and the limited amount of adjustments that they can make is not going to get him what he needs to do. And it's not worth the chance you might take of doing that. You know, right now he's looking at starting 13th. That's not bad. Their qualifying hasn't been a strong point this year. They'd probably, if you told them they could start 13th coming in here, they'd probably say, yeah, let's go do it.
That'd be about what we'll do.
Yeah.
So here's Biffle. Again, Greg Biffle and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the only two drivers yet to post a lap in this second session, trying to make the top 12. Biffle is on the racetrack now.
Yeah, Biffle had to run like a half lap at the end of that first session because he was on the bubble and there's another car on the track that could beat him. So he needed a little extra time to cool the tires. That's why he waited to the very end of this one.
And here comes Stenhouse.
A little wiggle there off of 4.
So that's the beginning of his time lap. Kyle Larson out to make another run to try and crack the top 12. And Greg Biffle now is on the clock as well across the start-finish line with what will be his only lap and his only crack at it.
Yeah, and you know, all three of these Roush Fenway cars that I've watched have all kind of had that twitch on the exit of the corner, whether it's exit of 1, 2, 3, or 4. They've all kind of had that same thing. So it's just something that, as an organization, they're battling with their drivers.
Trevor Bayne's going to make another run at it also. So here it is, the only lap that Stenhouse will get. Not enough. Dale Jr. is back on the racetrack to start another time lap also. Here comes Greg Biffle.
Could have been getting a little bit of help there. Close enough down the straightaway.
Not enough.
Needed to be closer yet, didn't it?
So flags are waving. If you started the lap, you can continue it. Ambrose, 22nd. Joey Logano stays in the 11th position.
They didn't pick up any time.
Dale Jr. is on a flying lap here.
He's nowhere near making the cutoff. I don't know what they're struggling with. They were fast in that final practice session.
Slower there. Carl Edwards a little slower. Austin Dillon not able to pick up any speed. And that's it. Round 2 of 3 is done. And the 12 drivers above that red line are going to run for the pole position in the Brickyard 400 coming up in just 5 minutes time. Kevin Harvick, fastest in both rounds so far. There are the dozen that'll run for the pole next.
What are you guys having?
I'll have a Red's Apple Ale.
Make it 2. Red's Apple Ale. Crisp like an apple, brewed like an ale.
How fast is 200 miles per hour?
Tomorrow at the Brickyard, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returns to ESPN. With 7 races to go, the race to the all-new chase is on. The Battle at the Brickyard, tomorrow at noon on ESPN.
It's the Summer Spectacular Sales Event at the Ford Store Morgan Hill. Check out our vehicles with thrilling performance and amazing technology like the Ford Fusion, or vehicles with powerful EcoBoost engines like the F-150. All at the Ford Store Morgan Hill, where you get clearly marked bottom line sale prices every day.
This summer,
who's gonna stop me?
time is our enemy, and speed is our friend. You're up.
I'm on it.
Saving the world is what we do.
Make Focus your choice for adventure and get up to $4,000 cash back. Or lease one for just $169 per month at your California Ford dealer now.
It's the Summer Spectacular Sales Event at the Ford Store Morgan Hill. Check out our vehicles with thrilling performance and amazing technology, like a 2014 Focus for $7,000 net savings from MSRP. At the Ford Store Morgan Hill, where you get clearly marked bottom line sale prices every day.
Back live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2/3 of the way through NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying to set the grid for tomorrow's Brickyard 400, the 21st running. Kevin Harvick has been fastest in both of the first two rounds. Matt Kenseth just missed making the transfer through to round 3. Jamie?
Talking to Matt Kenseth right now, you said you were surprised by the handling of it. What happened there in that second round?
Well, I'm not sure. Our first lap I thought was pretty good. It kind of did everything I expected to do and got a pretty conservative lap. We ended up 5th, and just the second time out, it just didn't do the same things. We just the balance was a lot different and the grip was a lot different. I just couldn't get a lap. It was just felt like a different car for some reason. So this knockout stuff's been tough for us for some reason, going from one round to the next to the next. Of course, we haven't been in the last one very many times, but I never thought I'd say it, but I kind of missed single car qualifying. We qualified so well last year, and this year just the second and third rounds, trying to get through them and get to them has been tough.
From the start of qualifying till right now, it's fluctuated. It's cooled off about 23 degrees. What does that do? What kind of impact does that put on the race car? They say how sensitive this track is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the funny thing is, especially the way qualifying's always been here in the past, everybody always had their draw excuse, right? The first guy in the morning was always should have got a pole, and the last guy should have been last. And none of us have that anymore. When a track's open, it's open for everybody, and when it's closed for everybody. So it's really the same for everybody.
All right, Matt Kenseth, he'll start 13th, just like he did a year ago. Doc?
Yeah, with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who climbed out of the car and maybe as frustrated as I've seen you look in quite a while. You seem to have some speed this morning, but I heard you say not locked down. What was the issue?
This morning we went out and the track was perfect. That's why we run such a good lap. When we run on the track like we got right now, we're just not fast as we need to be. Car's real tight, just slow. Haven't been real happy all weekend. Qualifying's been a problem here lately, especially the last couple months for us. So just real frustrated, man. We got to run better than this. We got to figure out what's going on, and we got to run better than this. Just getting really frustrated with not turning.
Qualifying is one thing. What about race trim for tomorrow? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, some of the characteristics the car has in qualifying, it carries over to the race. And, we're not going to be, I feel like we're not going to be that good in traffic, and the car doesn't turn off into the corner very good, and when you're behind, hell, it's doing that by itself. So when I get behind people, we're going to have real trouble trying to get up to people, and these cars got these big spoilers on them. You got to be able to get turned into the corner behind people, or you're never going to get to them. They just get stuck behind them. I mean, everybody's going to fight that tomorrow, but I just feel like that we're at a bit of a situation where it's going to hurt us a little worse. Our car's just not been very good balance-wise, and I like this track and like to run good here, and the guys are working hard, but the car's just not been very responsive.
Hey, thanks for your time. Dale Earnhardt Jr. very frustrated. He will be our in-race reporter tomorrow, so if you'd like to pose a question to Dale Earnhardt Jr. that Dale Jarrett will ask him during the pace lap, so you can log on to ESPN.com, key phrase in-race reporter. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. climbing out of the car a moment ago, guys, as frustrated as I have seen him in quite a while. Didn't even come over and glance at the crew, got out and just flustered about the lack of speed in the 88 car. Let's check in with Jamie.
Well, from the veteran driver to the rookie, Kyle Larson raced everything on four wheels, basically. Now here you are at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I know you grew up watching this place. What's it like to finally be here and be at the Sprint Cup Series level?
It's cool. I mean, I don't get too excited for many tracks, but Indy's cool just because it's got so much history, and would have liked to make it to the final round there in qualifying, but just didn't have the speed. We went quicker than our first round, but not quite quick enough for the target Chevy. So disappointing because I thought we were pretty good, but not as good as I thought we were, obviously. So, but I think we have a good race car, so just got to make the right adjustments overnight. This place is really aero dependent, so it'll be a lot different in traffic, and I haven't really been in traffic yet in practice, so we'll make some adjustments and hopefully be good.
All right, a lot to learn for Kyle Larson. He'll start 15th. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. So ready to go with the final session. Couple of notes to make. Kevin Harvick earlier this year swept all 3 rounds of qualifying and winning a pole at Michigan. That's the only time all season one driver has been fastest in all 3 rounds. Kevin was fastest in the first and second rounds today. Andy, you said you didn't think the driver that was fastest in the first round would be the guy that wins the pole.
I know what I said. But after he ran that lap in the first round, I thought, well, there goes that theory, because he was so fast. And he was 0.3 of a second faster than anybody in this last session. I just don't see anybody that can beat him right now.
So 12 drivers, 5 minutes, pole position. The best pick of pit stall, all those things that you want to start a race here at Indianapolis up for grabs here.
Yeah, and I think this is just one lap. We're going to see these 12 drivers all make a lap to try to get your car cooled back down, the tires cooled back down. I just don't think there's much to it to try to pick up some speed.
That's pretty simple. This is it. You got to get all you can right now.
Brian Vickers, green flag.
He was the fastest Toyota in that second session. He was 10th.
Brian hasn't raced the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series car here since 2011. Of course, missed the year with the blood clot problems he was having, then rebuilt his career via the NASCAR Nationwide Series, if you will. While we watch Brian, Kevin Harvick has also just taken the green flag to start a flying lap.
Car looks really solid for Brian Vickers. He's doing a nice job. Got a nice entry. You're not seeing it do anything crazy there.
Yeah, it does look very solid.
Question is, how fast is it?
That's right. That's the whole key. You can look good and be slow.
48.26, 186.45.
That's a 10th quicker than he ran the session before.
And here comes Harvick.
Probably no comparison to what we're going to see right here.
It's freaky fast, I can tell you that. It has been.
It says it on his car.
It says it right there.
I was going to ask you if you made that up all by yourself.
Wow, this is a lap.
188.470 miles an hour.
47.75. Good job.
Montoya. Here comes Newman. Newman will be second.
That's a great lap for Ryan Newman.
Yeah, except it's 4/10 slower than the guy that's got the fastest lap is the only thing. But Newman, great lap for him in this team. Obviously knows how to get it done here. Won last year.
That's a green flag for Casey Kane.
I think Newman's got a chance of winning his class, though.
Yeah. Sometimes we talk about a driver and a team being in a class of their own. Well, Kevin Harvick has been that to this point, the only driver in the 47-second bracket, and he's done it 3 straight times.
Kane is on the clock. Brad Keselowski's just started a flying lap. Kurt Busch has just started a flying lap. Or at least they hope it's flying. As to borrow Rusty's phrase, if you're going to beat Kevin Harvick, you're going to have to be flat flying.
For sure.
I'm telling you. 5th for Casey. Jimmy Johnson has just taken the green flag. Here's Keselowski coming to the checkers.
This is a driver that I thought maybe having a little something held back there, although that car didn't look as good on the exit of that car.
I think it's okay. I don't know if it's 47 something good, but it's okay.
No, it's not.
It'll be second.
But it was a good lap.
Jeff Gordon has just taken the green flag. Here's Kurt Busch. He'll be 5th. Jimmy Johnson on the track now. Tony Stewart has just started his lap. Green flag for Kyle Busch also. And Jimmy Johnson is going to come up 8th.
That's pretty disappointing. I'm sure they expected more.
Yeah, that's his slowest time of the 3 sessions.
To the checkers for Jeff Gordon.
Oh, this is a great lap for Jeff Gordon. It's going to put him on the front row in the 47-second bracket.
Only other driver besides Harvick in the 47s. Here's Smoke. Two-time winner looking for a third on Sunday. Joey Logano checkers ahead of him, 8th. Here comes Tony. He'll be 6th. One last driver to run. It's Kyle Busch. He'll be 12th.
Yeah, back to Smoke there in 6th. That's one of their best qualifying efforts of the season for sure. Really good job.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Watch out for Smoke tomorrow.
It's all over. Kevin Harvick, Rodney Childers, and company. Swept qualifying at Indianapolis, fastest in all 3 sessions. We'll talk to him next.
We have to be on all the time, so we rely pretty heavily on the coffee cart.
Hey guys, want some coffee?
I have a double-double.
What's a double-double? It's 2 double espressos.
They're awesome. Kevin makes the best double-double. As a matter of fact, can I get another one?
I think maybe you should slow down.
Give me another double-double, Kevin. Kevin, can I get another double-double?
I think you should just get through your show, you know?
It's for my show.
Of course, we do have to be careful that we don't overdo it.
Things are really heating up, shaping up, looking up, going up. Well, up from some teams, down for others. Is getting excited. It's the playoffs. Woo!
Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York. With millions of reviews, TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Hey, what are you drinking?
I'll take a red strawberry ale.
What?
Reds!
I think he wants this.
Red Strawberry Ale. Fresh like a strawberry, brewed like an ale.
Ooh, hello there. I'm Uma.
Hi, I'm Gary.
And I'm your new #1 ranked home phone service.
Yeah, I know.
Woo! Free calls. Let's high five.
Yeah, high five.
I'm kidding, Gary. I don't have hands. You know who does? You do. Let's make some free calls. Ooh. Oh.
Am I doing it right?
Oh, yeah.
Crystal clear nationwide calling for free. Uma, the smartphone for your home.
Each year, 95% of homeowners won't have a claim. That's why Allstate Claim-Free Rewards gives you money back for every year you don't have one. And why, if you're part of the other 5%, Allstate offers Claim Rate Guard, so your rates won't go up just because of the claim. No matter what comes your way, your home protects you. Protect it back. Allstate Home Insurance. From an Allstate agent.
Taco Bell brought back some old friends.
It's so good to be back.
To check out our new breakfast burrito.
Wow. This is legit. It's grilled.
It's even pretty. We just say it's good down in Louisiana.
Would you get a burrito from a burger place?
You don't go to a sushi bar and order spaghetti.
Good point, Ronald. Stick with the people who know burritos. Taco Bell's new grilled breakfast burritos. Bacon, sausage, or potato for $1.29 each.
These trucks aren't for show. No. These are work trucks. They carry a heavy load. They're pushed to their limits. Bumped, battered, and abused. So if they have a few scratches at the end of the day, that's okay. It's all in a good day's work.
The field is set at Indianapolis for the 21st running of the Brickyard 400. Tomorrow at noon Eastern Time on ESPN, Kevin Harvick, with his new track record of 188.470 miles an hour, now has 2 of the 4 fastest qualifying laps for stock cars ever here at the Speedway. Kevin winning the pole. He won the race from the pole back in 2003, Doc. He's going to start first again.
We were just talking about how he won the race from the pole back in 03, and Happy Harvick certainly happened. Now, you made that look easy, but how nerve-wracking was it?
Well, the first thing I want to do is thank Jimmy Johns, Budweiser, Mobile One, Outback, Hunt Brothers, everybody from Haas and Chevrolet, the Hendrick engine department, and everybody back in our fab shop at Stewart Haas and throughout the whole shop. They worked hard to keep making these cars better, and and today they shine. So Rodney and Mike and everybody on our Jimmy John's team have done a great job, and you know, they've turned me into kind of a halfway qualifier, I guess, with really fast race cars. So was happy with the car and race trim. Made a lot of adjustments from practice to qualifying, you know, to try to get the car on the track a little more. And the overcast weather didn't hurt anything either, so it kind of all played into our hands.
How important is it to start up front at a place like this?
Well, you can overcome a lot of things with track position here. So to have the first pit stall, have clean air to start the race, your problems will be a lot less than they are in traffic when you're out front. So hopefully we can put together a whole day. There's Daytona, and then there's nothing quite like this place, you know, that we come to. So it's a unique racetrack with a lot of things that have to come together, a lot of history, and just excited to be here.
You need to go wake up Keelan and tell him his daddy is the Brickyard 400 pole sitter.
Well, hopefully we took a picture with him on the bricks a couple days ago during Chevy Day, so hopefully we can take a couple more.
All right, Kevin Harvick at the pole sitter with a new track record. How about that for laps?
Doc, thanks. And as you look at how they ran today, a couple of team notes. First of all, 3 of the 4 Stewart-Haas cars are all inside the top 12, and the 4th one is only in 14th spot. Got a few Hendrick cars up there. Got all 3 Penske cars up in the top 9. So interesting team strength shown today here in qualifying.
And one thing that's been kind of a constant is Chevrolets are fast here.
Yeah.
They've won 11 straight races and looking to make it 12 tomorrow.
A disappointing run for Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 23rd spot. I'm sure he didn't expect that.
Along with Denny Hamlin back there, we heard him talk about their struggles for the weekend.
And the final 3 starters. In the field, Bobby Labonte in on the past champions provisional. More coverage of qualifying and still the Nationwide Series race coming up from here at the Brickyard.